Have you ever wondered who Guilty's master would be, or why Ikki's master wore that demon mask that seemed fused to his own face? And what was his real goal in turning the Phoenix Knight into a monster of pure hatred? Hello, Amazon Knights. Welcome to the channel. Always wanted to know. I'm Wes. And in today's video, we're going to revisit one of the most dangerous places in the world, Death Queen Island. But we're not just going to talk about Ikki's training, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating and dark theories in the Saint Seiya franchise. The possibility that Guity was a direct disciple of a gold saint. We're going to analyze every detail of this tragic journey, from forgotten battlefields to Esmeralda's sacrifice. So go ahead and comment where you're watching this video from, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. To understand who Guity was, we first need to understand the place he occupied. The island of the Queen of Death is not just an ordinary volcanic island, located in the South Pacific, just below the equator. In the official chronology, this place is what remains of the lost continent of Mo. It is a cursed land where the sun never truly shines, hidden by clouds of ash and sulfur, where the heat is so unbearable that your skin burns just by looking at it. That's where the black armors are kept, prototype and corrupted versions of the armors from Athena's army, created by alchemists from the continent of Mo, and that were not accepted by the goddess. The guardian of this island has a thankless mission. He must be the jailer of these Black Knights, making sure they never leave to spread chaos throughout the world. And the man chosen for this task in the 20th century was Guity. Unlike other masters like Marin of Eagle or the Old Master who taught justice and peace, Guity taught hatred. But why such cruelty? The answer may lie in his past. We know that in the time Yotze's saga, Guity's true face and names were revealed. His name is Jorge, and he was the Silver Knight of Furnace before receiving the Imperial Satan from the Grandmaster Saga. But in this theory, our journey begins long before Ikki arrives on the island, going back to the Holy War of the 18th century depicted in Next Dimension. At that time, the protector of the House of Leo was Kaiser, a man of unshakable justice, known for his brute strength and for his loyal companion, the giant lion Goji. Kaiser. He was a strict master focused on testing the hearts of warriors. He would have been Guity's master, but how could that be possible? In the Assassin episode Saga, we see that Isolde Capricorn was Shura's master, and Death Toad Cancer was Death Mask's master. This was only possible because at some point they returned from the world of the dead to train their successors. So, the same thing happened with Kaiser, where his spirit would momentarily return from the dead to train the Furnace Knight, named George, who would later become Guity. In this theory, we understand that Guity was not just any knight left to take care of Death Queen Island. He would have been the prodigy disciple of Kaiser the Lion. Imagine the scene. A young knight, gifted with a devastating flame cosmos, training under Goji's paw in the plasma lightning power of Kaiser. And if he managed to reach the seventh sense, he would be the natural heir to the Leo constellation. However, something happened during one of the countless peripheral conflicts that precede the Great Holy Wars. Guity was said to have been sent on a peacekeeping mission to a devastated battlefield. It was there, amidst the rubble and the smell of gunpowder, that he found something that would change his destiny. A baby girl with blonde hair and pure eyes, crying over the bodies of her parents. That baby was Esmeralda. Upon finding Esmeralda, Guity's heart, which until then had been focused solely on Kaiser's strict justice, wavered. He couldn't leave her behind. But the sanctuary is a place of absolute rules, and the training to become a knight allows no distractions or worldly attachments. The theory suggests that by trying to balance his life as a knight and his role as Esmeralda's protector, Guity ended up getting involved in an incident that resulted in his disgrace. Maybe he abandoned a critical post to save her. Or maybe his cosmos became impure in the eyes of the Grand Master of that time. As punishment, instead of inheriting the Leo gold cloth, which would remain vacant until the rise of young Ioria years later, he was exiled to the worst place in the world. He was sent to Death Queen Island with a mission to protect the Phoenix Cloth. However, sometime later, when Saga obtains the position of Grand Master after killing Xion, he uses the Imperial Satan technique on George and puts the red mask on him, forcing him to wear the Demon Defense Mask to erase his identity and become the jailer of the Knights. The mask was not just an accessory, it was a mystical seal that suppressed his kindness and amplified his aggressiveness. He took Esmeralda with him, hiding her on the island as his daughter, but treating her like a slave. From then on, when Ikki of Phoenix arrives on the island, he finds Guity, who is already completely consumed by the mask and the bitterness of exile. If we think of Guity as a former aspiring knight, his training makes even more sense. As we know, the lion is the symbol of courage and frontal attack, while the phoenix is the symbol of rebirth through pain. These two armors are connected to young Ikki, who is now on Death Queen Island as an aspiring knight. Guity knew that the phoenix armor was the most powerful among the bronze ones, being the only one capable of restoring itself, even if reduced to dust. For Ikki to be able to wear this armor, he needed to awaken a cosmos that surpassed even death itself. Guity used the psychological and physical pressure techniques he learned from Kaiser, but twisted by the hatred of his exile. He didn't hate Ikki for pleasure. He hated Ikki because he saw in the boy the same flame he once had. One day, he needed Ikki to kill him. In Guity's twisted code of honor, the disciple would only be ready when he was able to eliminate his own master, cutting all ties to humanity. Esmeralda is a crucial, original character. She is described as a young woman sold as a slave on the island. But in this narrative, she is the last remnant of humanity. From Guity, and her resemblance to Shun from Andromeda is no coincidence. Visually, it's a narrative tool to show that both Ikki and Guity were attached to people who represented purity. Amidst the chaos, the moment when Guity accidentally kills Esmeralda during training with Ikki is the definitive breaking point. Some theorists believe that Guity struck Esmeralda on purpose, to force Ikki to awaken the seventh sense through absolute hatred. When he saw the only thing he loved die by his own hands, Guity finally completed his transformation into a demon. Ikki, by delivering the fatal blow to his master, freed Guity's soul from that cursed mask. If Guity was, in fact, the original chosen one to become the future Leo Knight, that explains a lot about the power vacuum in the sanctuary. Aiolia of Leo grew up under the shadow of his brother's betrayal, Aiolos of Sagittarius. But who trained him? The official story is vague about Aiolia's tutors after Aiolos' death. If Guity had remained in the sanctuary, he would have been Aiolia's mentor. With his exile, the sanctuary lost not only an elite knight, but also a pillar of stability. This allowed evil to infiltrate more easily with the rise of Saga of Gemini as the false Grandmaster. Guity, on his distant island, knew about the sanctuary's corruption, but was trapped by his duty and by his mask. It's possible that during his training with Kaiser, he gained access to forbidden knowledge about how to manipulate the fire cosmos, something he refined in the solitude of Death Queen Island. The Phoenix armor is considered a legendary armor within the bronze class itself. Before Ikki, no one had ever managed to wear it, because no one could withstand the process of cosmos combustion necessary to be accepted by the constellation. The name Guity comes from English and means guilty. This reinforces the idea that the character carried a sin from the past, something he was never able to overcome, living in eternal penance. In Next Dimension, Kaiser is one of the most respected knights. He has two guardian lions, Goldie and Blondie. Unlike the masks of the Amazons like Marine and Sheena, which serve to hide femininity, Guity's mask is an instrument of psychological torture and power restraint. In the end, Guity is one of the most tragic characters in the whole saga. He wasn't just a villain or a cruel master. He was a man who lost everything: his honor, his position as a knight, and finally, the life of the person he rescued from a battlefield. By training Ikki in such a brutal way, Guity made sure that the Phoenix Knight would be strong enough to survive any adversity, even hell itself. He prepared Ikki to face the corrupt sanctuary, something he himself couldn't do. The truth is that Guity no longer felt human. To him, the face under the mask had already died the day he was exiled. He could only remove the mask when Ikki surpassed him, because at that moment, his mission as a master and his punishment as Guity had finally ended. So, what did you think of this theory? Does it make sense to you that Ikki's master was the direct successor of the legendary Leo Kaiser? Death Queen Island still hides many secrets that Kurumada left between the lines. Share your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Burn your infinite Cosmotel.